So we're doing this video today to answer the question, should I cancel or postpone my wedding? The short answer is yes and no. Yes, you should consider putting plans into place in the event that you need to postpone. No, you should not be cancelling your wedding. You're not cancelling your wedding. To cancel your wedding will mean that it's not happening ever, never, ever. And unless one of you has decided, or both of you decided, that you no longer want to get married, cancelling is not an option. In addition to that, the financial implications for you to cancel will mean that any investments that you've made into suppliers, vendors, florists, cake makers, and all sorts will be lost. So any booking fees, deposits paid will be lost if you cancel. So this video is going to provide you with 4 steps which will allow you which will allow you to create an action plan in the event that the worst happens. So let's get started. Step 1. First and foremost, before you contact anyone or take any actions, read through your contracts. Collate together all of the contracts that you have for your suppliers and vendors and go to the section of your contract with regards to cancellations. Within that section, there'll be a term called, probably not going to say this right, force majeure. Yeah, you'll find it. And it basically refers to things outside of the control of any of us. Acts of God, ash clouds that don't allow planes to come through, tsunamis, those kinds of events. Within that section, you'll be able to get a good understanding of what your suppliers and vendors' current terms and conditions are with regards to cancelling or postponing a booking. Once you have that information, don't be disheartened if it doesn't say the kind of things you want to be hearing, because everybody is being very flexible during this period, and your suppliers and vendors will more than likely want to accommodate you in any way, shape or form that they can, should you be impacted by the current coronavirus. So step one, you've just read through your contracts and you've got a short summary of any questions that you want to ask your suppliers and vendors. Step 2 is to reach out to your suppliers and vendors. Pick up the phone and call them. Don't send them an email in the first instance. When you were researching your suppliers and vendors, you booked them because you were drawn to them, whether it was because they were cheaper or because they were the best at what they did. Either way, you would have gone through a process which would allow you to start developing a relationship with this person who is going to provide you with a service or a product for one of the most significant days of your life. So pick up the phone, speak to whoever it is that you've been speaking to thus far, and have a really frank and open, honest discussion about your concerns with regards to the virus and what your options are should you need to postpone your wedding to another day. Most suppliers and vendors worth their salt will be more than happy to say, okay, if you need to postpone, we're more than happy to move your wedding to an alternative date should it not conflict with another booking that we already have. In that case, you will reduce the financial implications on your wedding, on yourselves during this time, and kind of just move that money to a later date to secure that booking for you. So you've read through your contract, you've reached out to your suppliers and vendors. On the term of reaching out to your suppliers and vendors, the first supplier that you should be contacting is your venue. Your venue is the foundation for your wedding. They are the house for everybody to come to, and so they should be the first call that you make. You want to be asking them questions like, what health and safety procedures or policies have you now implemented on top of what you already do to deal with the current climate? You want to be asking them if any of their staff have travelled within the last 14 days or will have travelled within the last 14 days. If any of their staff attending would have not been in the country or are new to the country, because you don't really want that kind of risk at your wedding, and hopefully the venues have already thought about this. We're going to put some links within the description box to great articles that we found from Coco Wedding Venues, Love My Dress, with regards to some of the issues that vendors are currently facing and how they are coping with that, and advice that has been given to them, which will enable you to speak with them confidently about what they should currently be doing. That's the first vendor that you contact. Once you've contacted them, you can then move on to the other vendors and suppliers, and you'll be able to use the information you have from your venue to kind of say to them, this is what we've checked with the venue, they've put this up in place. And so you'll be able to put your other vendors and suppliers' minds at ease with regards to their own health and safety in attending your wedding. So we've got step 1, you've reviewed your contracts. Step 2, you have reached out to all of your suppliers and vendors to find out if they are willing to postpone, and if so, what the process will be. So they will be able to tell you, okay, we're happy to postpone your wedding day as long as we haven't got another booking, as long as it happens within this period of time, and as long as you notify us at least 7 days, 14 days, 3 weeks before your actual wedding date. Another thing to note with your wedding venue, a lot of venues nowadays book weddings like 2 years in advance. So if you have a really popular wedding venue, you need to prepare yourself to hear that your wedding date in 12 months time potentially isn't available, in 2 years time potentially isn't available. What you may want to start the conversation with, dependent on how flexible you are with dates and how badly you want to get married this year, regardless of the date that it happens, is approach the venue with, what potential dates do you currently have free, which we can move our wedding date to, should we need to postpone? Yeah, that's definitely the angle that you want to be taking in the first instance. Okay, so we have step 1, we have step 2. Step 3, now that you've spoke with your suppliers and vendors and you've come to some kind of mutual agreement over the phone, and they've been flexible and taken into consideration the unique requirements of your wedding day, the next step is to confirm what you have discussed via email. So put all of the information into an email. What we're actually going to do is draft a template that you can download and use, and send that to your vendors and suppliers. In there you can state what has been agreed and just get them to simply send an email back confirming that they are in agreement with what you have discussed and what you have put in the email. It just covers yourselves, it covers them, and everybody kind of knows where they're standing. That is step 1 through 3. Finally, the last step and the final stage is for you and your partner to sit down and draft a contingency plan with actionable steps. So in the event that this happens, you can already have a templated email ready and waiting to send out to your vendors and suppliers stating the worst has happened, or this is the current situation as per our conversation however many weeks ago, and the new agreement set up with regards to postponing. We are now facing having to postpone the wedding day. These are the dates that we have received from our wedding venue. Can you let us know which of these dates you are currently available to reschedule to, so that we can find a date which is mutually convenient for all suppliers and vendors? Once that goes out, they'll come back to you and they'll tell you when they're available, if they're available, and from the majority, you will be able to pick a new date that you can reschedule to. If 1 or 2 of your vendors and suppliers can't go, this is something that you just have to swallow. You have to take this on board. Not every vendor or supplier will necessarily be able to reschedule to one of the dates which is available or that you are suggesting. If this is the case, be prepared to lose the deposit or the booking fee that you have already paid. It's just one of those things. The whole purpose of this video and the whole purpose of us answering this question is to reduce the financial implications that you are potentially facing should your wedding day not be able to go ahead. So, now that you have all of that information, hopefully you feel better equipped to at least come up with a contingency plan. Take these steps now rather than waiting for the country to either potentially go into lockdown, which unfortunately is something we may face, or potentially if you have a wedding where a large percentage of your guests are over the age of 50 to 60, you may want to just consider looking at how you manage this process. Hopefully you found this really useful. We hope that you don't have to face postponing or cancelling your wedding day this year or this wedding season. But once again, we will provide loads of information in the description box, and we will constantly be updating videos throughout the week to kind of discuss things like wedding insurance, where you currently stand, alongside other topics that are going to be really relevant to you here and now. Carry on planning. Carry on preparing, get my teeth in, carry on preparing for your wedding day. Don't let this virus stop you from making inquiries, from contacting vendors and suppliers that you still need to book, from making bookings. Negotiate things like the booking fee and the deposit. In the current climate, if you're getting married within the first few months, potentially ask, are you happy to reduce the booking fee in light of the fact that we may need to cancel or postpone? These are things that people will be willing to discuss with you further. Be ready to negotiate. Good luck.